Hello students, in the previous video we have covered about the problems in the agriculture sector. In this video we are going to look at what are the policy responses to the problems in the agriculture sector, or in what way government has tried to address the problems in the agriculture sector. In the previous video, we have seen that a number of schemes were launched by the government so as to enhance the income of the farmer. Broadly, these focused on subsidizing the input cost, like providing water, power and fertilizer at the subsidized rate, or providing fertilizer subsidies so as to reduce the input cost. Second was green revolution. We all know the wonder which a green revolution has done, as the productivity and the yield per acre has drastically increased in India, but monoculture, which is a major problem, has also emerged. So green revolution has led to increasing yield through better farming practices and timely and adequate availability of quality inputs like high yielding variety of seeds, fertilizers and modern machineries. The output prices are also stabilized through MSP and public procurement so that farmers get the right prices, and then augmenting the non-crop related agricultural income, like income which is coming from sectors other than agriculture sector, but that income should go to the farmer. So number of schemes were launched, and one was Kusum scheme, we will discuss this. And then providing direct cash transfer like Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana or Raitu Bandhu or Kalia scheme of Odisha. So let us look at the new schemes or policies to eradicate the problem in the agricultural sector. First is Kusum scheme. Now this Kusum scheme was launched by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. This is known as Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Utthan Mahabhiyan. Now this scheme aims to bring additional financial resources or additional income to the farmer from sectors other than agriculture sector. Now the aim is installation of solar pumps and grid connected solar and other renewable power plants in the country, basically in the rural areas. This will ensure that sufficient power, which is renewable power, is available for feeding rural load centers and agricultural pump, so that the farmers get the electricity during the daytime when it is much needed, because in the daytime in the rural area electricity is not available in sufficient amount and people have to spend huge amount of money. The farmers have to spend huge amount of money on diesel, to purchase diesel. Now this Kusum scheme will drastically reduce the input cost of diesel. This will save the farmers income and will lead to farmers having saving. This will increase their saving. Also, this will be a stable source of income for the rural household, as in the arable land, farmer can install the solar pumps and grid connected solar equipments, and farmer can sell the electricity to the DISCOMs under the renewable purchase agreements. This Kusum scheme will bring additional financial resources to the farmer and will promote renewable energy. Apart from this scheme, there is Agricultural Infrastructure Fund. If you remember, in one of the video, we have discussed about the creation of modern storage system. The Agricultural Infrastructure Fund aims to fulfill this aim. The Agricultural Infrastructure Fund, popularly known as AIF, is a central sector scheme, which implies that 100% of the funding of this scheme comes from the central government. Now this scheme focuses on setting up of storage and processing facilities, which will help farmers get higher prices for their crops, because if the storage facility is there and if farmer is not getting right prices, farmer can store his food grain in the storage facility and can sell them when the prices are high. The processing facilities will help farmer to get higher income, because the price of processed food is much as compared to the price of a raw good. And this scheme will be implemented for a period of 10 years and will be in operational till 2029. The beneficiaries of the Agricultural Infrastructure Fund will be the farmer producers organizations, the individual farmers, entrepreneurs, agri-entrepreneurs, startups, etc. So in the scheme, 1 lakh crore of credit will be extended by the banks. Now these all the amount which will be given by the banks will be used for building community farming assets and post-harvest agricultural infrastructure. This will also give boost to the usage of negotiable warehousing receipt. The concept of NWR will be discussed in the next video, but for your reference, negotiable warehousing receipts, these are generated against the food grain which is stored in the storage facilities, and a person can get loans based on the NWR receipt. The Agricultural Infrastructure Fund will be a medium to long-term debt facility. So you go to the bank and under the AIF you will get money. You can invest in storage and processing facilities, and then so it's like creating the rural infrastructure, creating an infrastructure in the rural area to aid the agricultural sector. This will the project will invest in viable project for post-harvest management, infrastructure and community farming assets. Interest subvention and credit guarantees also provided. The Agricultural Infrastructure Fund will reduce the logistic cost of the farmer, will provide additional income to the farmer by way of storage and processing facilities, and will also bring private sector investment in the farm sector. Then there is a scheme called Mega Food Park Scheme. The Mega Food Park Scheme is related to food processing. This will bring additional income to the farmer and will also increase the reach of the farmer to the markets. The scheme aims at establishing well-developed, well-linked food processing center in India, which will reduce post-harvest losses. Because post-harvest losses amounts for 92,000 crore annually. Now this implies that farmers annually lose they face the loss of 92,000 crore. Now this loss can be reduced and can be channelized for the productive activities. So the mega food parks will be used. The scheme aims to establish well-developed, well-linked food processing center which will reduce post-harvest losses, will promote crop diversification, and will ensure high income to farmer and will reduce the logistic cost. The scheme was introduced in 2008 to provide and to build food processing infrastructure. The aim is to develop integrated value chain, supply chain, and to connect farmers with the right market. Through this scheme or through the mega food park, farmers will be indirectly connected to the global supply chain. So what happens in the mega food park is farmers can can bring their food grains to these parks. The companies will purchase the grains directly from the farmer, and that food grains will be directly processed and the rural area. Now this will create employment opportunities. It will also provide additional income to the farmers during the lean season. The current processed food industry accounts for 10% of India's total export. Now, if the scheme is successful, then the exports will increase, which implies that more and more farmer grains will be produced, farmer will get high prices, exports will be boosted, and so the aim of doubling farmer income will also be fulfilled. As I said that annual post-harvest losses are around 92,000 crore. This amounts for 6% of the total food production. Now this 6% of total food production can be exported as well if the mega food park scheme is successful. As I said that the scheme has the potential to provide employment, huge employment, and currently it employs close to 7 million people, and as these will be set up in the rural areas or in the semi-urban areas, the employment generation will further increase and farmer can find employment here. And if you look at the current status, then for the food processing industry in India, the processing food industry for fruit stands at 2%, for vegetable, fruits and vegetable, it stands at 2%, for milk it is 35%, and for poultry products it's 6%. As for the milk, it is high, and that's why we are number 1 in milk production. Let us look at the most important scheme, which is minimum support price. So what is MSP? MSP is the minimum price which is decided by the government. So a farmer grain cannot be purchased below the MSP. So MSP is the minimum price at which the produce is to be sold, and under MSP, government procures the food grains from the farmer. Now, the minimum support price is announced for 22 crops, and for the sugarcane, fair and remunerative price is announced. So FRP is announced for sugarcane and MSP for other 22 crops. So these crops are paddy, jowar, bajra, maize, ragi, arhar, moong, urad, groundnut, soybean, sunflower, sesame, nigroseed, cotton, wheat, gram, masoor, barley, jute, copra, safflower, mustard, lentil, etc. So the MSP, these are the crops. You should remember the names of the crop because this is very important, because most of the time questions have come like, out of the following options, which of the following is not part of the MSP? So for which of the crop MSP is not announced? In order to calculate MSP, government takes three formulas, which is A2, A2 plus FL and C2. Now these three formulas are different. And as per Shanta Kumar committee report, only 6% of farmers have access to minimum support price. Now this is the major failure of this scheme, because only 6% of farmers have access to MSP. This indicates that majority of farmers in our country are not getting right prices for their produce. How to calculate MSP? So it is, first is A2. So it is the actual paid out cost, actual cost which the farmer has incurred. It takes into account agricultural input, cost of agri inputs, fertilizer cost, depreciation, interest, irrigational charges, cost of labor, cost of capital, land rent, etc. So this is the narrowest thing, because it doesn't take into account other cost like family labor. Now the cost of family labor is taken in the next formula, which is A2 plus FL. The A2 plus FL takes into consideration imputed cost of family labor, which is the variable cost. And then comes the C2, which is much broader. C2 takes A2 plus FL plus the rental value of own land. So if I'm having the land, if I'm cultivating on my own land, but still I will take into consideration what will be the rental value of this land. Similarly, interest on own fixed capital. So these two are included. So in C2, fixed capital is included, fixed cost is included, and in A2 plus FL, variable cost is included, which is the imputed cost of family labor. In India, when MSP is calculated, we take A2 plus FL while calculating MSP. So it is 50% more than the cost of production. So apart from taking into consideration A2 plus FL, we also look at the price in the international market, domestic market, price parity, etc. So this is about MSP. Let us look at a practice question. The question is, consider the following statement. The minimum support price is announced for 22 crops and copra is one among them. So the question is, out of the 22 crops, copra is one among them and MSP is announced for only 22 crops. And for the sugarcane, fair and remunerative price is announced. So if you look at this question, both these statements are correct, because copra is a crop for and MSP is announced for copra, and there are 22 crops for which MSP is announced, and for sugarcane FRP is announced. So the correct option is both 1 and 2. Thank you.